Hello, and welcome to Mr. Marr History. Today we're looking at some ideas that will hopefully help you get ready for your exams. Let's be totally honest about this. Revision is a really important part of school life. But that doesn't mean you like it. It doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it's fun. So, based on all that, we know it's important, we know it's not always the easiest, so we have to learn to do it. If you can learn to do it properly, you're going to do it very well and achieve the most that you possibly can. So, this guide is going to look at lots of different approaches to how you might want to revise. We're going to look at how you go about planning your revision, rather than just jumping straight in and thinking that you're going to achieve by doing that. We're going to look at some tasks that you might do that involve reading and writing. We're going to look at some tasks that involve listening and watching. Some approaches involve using online and IT resources, and we'll also look at some pair and group work that you can do. One thing you really need to know is this, and it's possibly the most important bit of advice you'll get just now. It's very unlikely that any one of those approaches on its own is going to be the one magic bullet that helps you. The best thing for you to do is try different tasks, and you'll find the individual ones possibly the best combination which help you achieve the best you can. And that means starting now. The sooner you start, the sooner you've got an opportunity to find out the things that do and the things that don't work, and maximise your time on the things that will most help you, especially as you get much nearer the exams. Let's start off in the first place by thinking about revision planning, which is a crucial part. There's no point in just jumping straight in, having your books in front of you, without knowing exactly what it is you're wanting to achieve. One of the key things you have to bear in mind, and is often overlooked, is this. Ask for help if you're ever struggling. You are the person who's sitting the final exam, and sometimes that can lead to a tendency to think that you are the only person that has to be involved in the revision process. But actually it doesn't mean you have to do that. If you're not sure, ask your teacher if you can give you support. That is what they're there for, and it's what they want to do. They really will be happy to do so. Your teachers want you to succeed and want to help you in whatever way they fairly can. Another key step is make sure you start early. It's never too early to start preparing for the exams. Even if they seem months away, even if that seems like another lifetime almost, you should start getting into a revision habit now. Perhaps not as much as you will do nearer the time, but nevertheless, now. The people that do best don't do best by accident. They work consistently throughout the year, doing past paper questions, speaking to their teachers for help, and getting into the habits and routines that will help them succeed. One really useful approach can be to have a study timetable. Otherwise, the danger is, you sit down, you've got a giant pile of books, and you think, what exactly should I be doing? What subject should I do? And ultimately, that's what leads to procrastination. That's what leads to you doing nothing. Make your life easier. Have a plan for what you're going to study and when you're going to do it. The best thing about doing this is if you do it, it means you can have free time. If you've planned to study 3 topics one night after school and you've done them, you can now safely sit down, play the computer, go out and see your friends, watch the TV, or do something, comfortable in the fact that you did what you were supposed to that night. As part of this though, please make sure you avoid all distractions. Beep 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 is something I'm fairly sure, maybe sounding a bit more electronic, that you hear regularly. It's really hard if you're getting messages from your friends, looking at pictures of funny cats, to actually do some sort of revision. Unless you really need it, and let's be totally honest about this, your life's not going to end almost certainly if your mobile's in a different room. That's where it should be. And you should also make sure you take a break. Studying for long periods without taking a break can actually be just as damaging as doing nothing. What you should try to do is short bursts, 30 to 40 minutes maximum per topic at a time, and then factor in some rest and break time. And also, make it fun. Give yourself prizes and rewards. You might think, if I do a certain amount, I can get something I'm looking forward to. Maybe it means you'll only watch that TV programme once you've studied 3 subjects. Maybe you're going to get a bar of chocolate if you complete a full past paper. You can decide the rewards, but it's something to aim for. Let's look then at some approaches to revision that involve reading and writing tasks. Perhaps the obvious one is past paper questions. It really is potentially the best revision you'll do. You can get these past papers online. You can also ask your teacher if, having done them, they'll mark them for you. This is good because it shows you the types of topics that often come up, and it also lets you practice the different types of question skills associated with the exam. Another good action is flashcards. They're really easy to make. Get a bit of A4 paper, fold it twice, and then cut out the 4 rectangles you've now got. On one side write a topic title, and on the reverse write 5 or 6 facts about that topic. Then what to do is put all your flashcards with the topic title facing up and test yourself. See if you can remember what you wrote underneath. Mind maps are another approach which can be helpful too. You very simply start by writing the topic you're going to study in the middle of a bit of paper. Then you add at least 4 sub-issues which are to do with that, drawing little legs coming off. And then you want to add some facts about each of these sub-issues. Then have a check. Did you leave any sections blank? That's okay if you have, it just means it's something you now have to go and revise. Another approach that's quite interesting is the idea of a nightmare exam. What would you hate to see appear in the final exam that you've studied this year? Make up an exam paper that's full of these questions and topics, and then write a help guide on how you'd answer them. You might want to avoid a topic, but if it's been taught in class, it can come up in the exam. Another approach which is useful for some people is writing a revision guide. You can ask your teacher for a course summary which lists all of the required teaching topics. Then try and write a revision guide, and for each topic give at least 5 or 6 facts. You never know if it's good enough, you could possibly even sell it to your classmates, or maybe at least give it to your friends. Some people like the idea of what's known as Cornell notes. This involves you simply choosing a study topic. You divide the page then into 3 parts, as you can see on the right. In the notes section, you write down absolutely everything you know about a particular topic. In the key words section, you just want to write down some of the main points which would prompt you to remember them. And in the summary section, you summarise what you think the key things to remember is about this topic. A quick approach can be an A to Z challenge as well. Quite simply, write out the entire alphabet with each letter on a different line. And then think, can I think of at least one fact to do with the topic for every single letter? If you can't think of something for some letters, maybe do some research for this and see what you find. Another approach that many of my pupils like is 10-word revision. The danger when revising is you try and remember too much, so this is a way to try and get around this. Simplify your research. Focus on the key points which are most important. Think of all the topics you'll study, and then for each, imagine you were allowed to take some notes into the exam, but a maximum of 10 words. What 10 words would you pick, and why? That process alone can help you remember. Another good activity is foldable revision. You get a bit of A4 paper and fold it down the middle. Then you cut the folded paper until you've got 4 flaps, like you can see on the right. On each flap you should write a topic, and then some 5 or 6 key facts. And then fold it back over and test yourself by looking at the overall flat topic and seeing what you can remember. Here's some approaches which might help you revise that involve listening and watching. One approach is listening to podcasts. You can't always be sitting at a desk, but even if not, you can still revise. When you're out and about, you might be walking to school, you might be going to see friends, you could be sitting on a bus. You can download podcasts for lots of your different topics. For example, Mr. Marr's history podcasts can be found on Podomatic and iTunes. Another activity, if you've been inspired by the podcast, is to make your own. Sometimes actually the best way to learn is to teach other people. That's one of the reasons your teachers seem to know so much. Instead of just listening to podcasts, you can make and then record your own ones. A program like Audacity will help you do this, and then you can listen back to them too. If you're brave enough, you could even let your friends do it. You can also watch YouTube clips. Let's be honest, you already spend a bit of time on YouTube, possibly watching nonsense. So instead, why not use this time and for at least some good use by watching things that help with your revision? Again, Mr. Marr has a YouTube page which covers lots of the history topics you're looking at, but there's lots of other useful videos found online. There's also lots of documentaries and films to be found online. You might want to, in the first place, though, look at the upcoming TV schedule. Sometimes you might find there's documentaries about what you're studying in class. And you can also use things like Netflix or Amazon Prime, or even simply YouTube to get these as well. There's lots of online and IT tasks you can do to help you revise too. For example, there's useful websites. The one thing the internet's full of is websites. What you want to do is find the useful ones. Some of them will have topics that you're studying. They might even help you answer exam questions by giving help to do this. Mr. Marr's History website has got all of these things, videos, facts, and podcast links, as well as other help too. There's also downloadable apps that you can use to help you with your revision. There's lots of things that can be put straight onto your computer or your phone to help you with studying. You can get study timetables, you can get fact and quiz apps, and the SQA have a useful My Study app, and that helps you prepare for the exams, including seeing when your exams are. You might want to design a PowerPoint, which is something people often like doing. Think of all the main topics you have to study to get ready for the exam. Make a PowerPoint presentation for each. You can use images, as well as obviously good facts that might help you remember. And then you can read them to revise, or you could even send them to a friend. If they've done the same, you could look at theirs, and hopefully that would help you remember. Hashtags are a useful approach as well. Social media can be a distraction, but there is some approaches that help you with revision. There's lots of teaching sites on Twitter and Instagram, and even things like TikTok that have revision hashtag links. Mr. Marr History Twitter page and also Instagram has lots of hashtags that link back to the different topics you're studying. You can also do revision tweets. Again, why not use the social media to help you and your friends? Why not aim to send at least 5 tweets every day with facts for different study topics? Even if you're too embarrassed to publicly post these, you could just make them up and save them in your drafts. Get your friends to do the same if you will post it though, and then follow and read each other's tweets. There's also some work that you can do with friends or in groups to help your revision. One approach is supported study. It's really helpful to revise and study with expert help. Most schools and subjects will run supported study classes. They might be before or after school or at lunchtimes. Find out when these are and get the extra support that is available from your teachers. Quizzes are a good approach as well. Make up a quiz for each of your study topics, for example between 10 and 20 questions, but include answers too. Once you've done it, get someone to quiz you, like a friend or family member. They could even give you a prize if you do well enough. Questions word searches can be a nice wee distraction from normal revision as well. Make up a word search with a difference. Write 10 questions and hide the answers in the word search. Your friend then has to look at it, but they have to firstly work out what the answers are to the questions before they can complete the word search. You can do it as well if they've done one for you. Taboo is another interesting one that might give you a wee distraction from the norm. In Taboo, you have to describe a topic without using certain keywords. You could make up a Taboo game to study your topics and write the 5 most commonly used words. Then you've got to try and describe this topic without using any of them. Board games can be another approach too. You could start by making a quiz. You could give 1 to 6 options. For example, 1 questions are easy, 6 are hard. Instead of rolling a dice, ask the questions and you only get to move the counter if you get the question correct. Who's going to win this game? Pictionary is another good approach as well. Very simply, write a list of the key study topics and make them into cards. Select a random card and try and draw the images that describe the topic. The challenge is to work out what your